Picture this if you will. You're sitting alone in your bedroom one night when a bunch of people in suits approach you. They tell you that they work for the Walt Disney Corporation and they have a very special deal for you. They hand you a blank check with your name on it and tell you that you have creative power and infinite funds to redesign Walt Disney World according to your standards. Now the first question you may be asking yourself is, how did all these people in suits get into my bedroom? But the second question you ask is, how would you redesign Disney World? Here's what I would do. Now the Epcot Center is divided into two different halves, Future World and the World Showcase. So consequently, we're going to be dividing this video into half. The first video half is going to be focusing on the Future World section, the front of the park. But I won't be talking about this subway that's like literally just outside the park right next to the front. Anyways, let's move on. Now the first section we're going to be talking about is the Seas Pavilion. Now, I actually wouldn't touch anything here specifically because of the welfare of the animals. I don't want to touch the big aquarium, and the Nemo ride's fun. I'd probably just leave this part of the park mostly untouched. Maybe add some more shade, because I heard a lot of people want more shade. Next up is the Land Pavilion. This includes Living with the Land, Awesome Planet, a couple of restaurants, and Soarin' Over the World. Now, Soarin' I wouldn't touch, except make it Soarin' Over California every once in a while, because that's super fun to do. I'd maybe change a few of the restaurants in here to retheme them a bit, make them a little more Disney friendly, and I would probably change the Living with the Land boat ride a bit. Even though it's a fun interactive ride, I'd probably add a couple of Disney IPs, make it a little more child friendly, get a couple more guests into the actual ride itself without really changing the whole nature theming. What I think needs a facelift is the Awesome Planet movie. Now I know it's gone through a couple of different changes over the years, but what I think with a theater style seating, and this is actually some of my dad's ideas as well, is that you could rechange it to make it a Disney themed show with a continually different show of different Disney animals telling you different facts about the animals and their wildlife. I mean, Disney's not short on cat characters alone, let alone every other species that Disney could make an entire little movie on. Now we'll move over to the left side of the park. One thing I would change would be the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Now I really like this ride, I like the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, I like Chris Pratt, I like the theming, I think the ride's fun. The only problem I have would be the song selection set list. What I would personally do is I have no problem with any of these songs except for Conga. I don't think Conga fits the overall Guardians of the Galaxy mood or timeline. So what I would do is I would replace the song Conga and I would replace it with a different song that I think fits the theme more, including Derek of the Dominoes' Layla. Can you imagine doing the backwards launch for that awesome guitar riff? I think that'd be a lot more fun. Now for the Imagination Pavilion, I wouldn't touch Figment. I really like the way Figment is now, but one thing I may consider changing is the Disney Pixar Short Film Festival. I feel like that needs a more permanent attraction rather than the short films. So let me know down in the comments below what you think should be there. And now let's move on to the most unique part of Epcot and my definite favorite part of Epcot, the World Showcase. I'm going to be going all around the countries, starting from left to right, and tell you what I think would be a great change for all of the different countries. So let's start over in the Mexico Pavilion. Now I know that some people may have trouble starting with Canada or Mexico, but I always go Mexico, so let's just go with that. Now the Mexico Pavilion has some really nice interior theming with the whole volcano and the dark restaurant vibe, but I would probably change the outside temple theme, make it a little bit more modern Mexico City, but what I would really retheme is the Three Caballeros boat ride. I think the ride is a little outdated and a little kind of odd because a lot of the Three Caballeros doesn't actually take place in Mexico. A lot of it is South American. So what I would do is I would take the ride and I would retheme it to a Coco themed ride, which is a much bigger Mexico specific movie. And when it comes to the Norway Pavilion, there isn't much I would change. I think that a Frozen ride is fantastic. I like the little gift shops they have. The one thing I would change though is that church out in front. I kind of don't like it, and this is a personal thing as a Christian, but I kind of don't like that whole pagan god thing built inside the Christian church. However, though, I will also say from a business perspective, how many people do you really see inside that church at one point? I don't think removing the church is a good idea, but I think changing the theme inside would be more beneficial. I'm not quite positive to what, but I think there is something that could attract more foot traffic. Next up is the China Pavilion. Now the Chinese Pavilion show the reflections of China I think could use an update. There are no seats at the standing circle theater show, however I think that with some seat implementations, perhaps retheming the show to a Mulan themed show, with possibly having Mushu guide you through the parts of China, making it a little more child friendly like the old Canadian show, I think that would be a more popular addition that would bring in more crowds to Epcot. Now we come to the next section, the little blank area that's in between Germany and China. Now this has a little African-inspired village, but I think getting an actual footprint of a realistic country would be a better idea. So I was kind of arguing what country to put in this area, and one idea did pop into me into this little red zone. I'm thinking it's a Switzerland-themed pavilion. Now, it is true that Epcot has implemented the Alps Pavilion, which is a Switzerland-based theme during some special events. However, I think getting a more permanent Switzerland placeholder would be better. As you can see by this original concept art, that was actually originally intended to include a Switzerland-style pavilion. And one very popular attraction in Switzerland is the Matterhorn, so looking at the blueprints of the one in Anaheim, I was able to figure out that you can fit it inside the one at Epcot. So if you can see here by the blueprints, you can have a Matterhorn-themed ride and a line queue, a little Swiss village we can perhaps buy some watches, and a double-decker themed fondue restaurant ride on the water. I figured that would be a perfect nighttime display with little cheeses, little chocolate, and be very popular whenever the fireworks show goes off. I think that'd be a fantastic Instagram-style venue. Next up is Germany. Now, I debated whether or not to actually remove the buffet-style restaurant there, which is a fun restaurant because originally it was supposed to be a giant ride, but I figured that there's kind of already a lot of rides and there's not a lot of fancy places to eat there, so perhaps just keep the Germany Pavilion exactly the way it is for now. Similarly to Germany, I wouldn't change much about the American Pavilion. That little stage there is very important for candlelight and other shows, and I really enjoy the American Adventure Show. I highly recommend seeing it. One thing I would change is I would probably change that little Art of Disney shop, and I'd probably switch it back to what it originally was, which was American colonial themed decor, which I think would be kind of a funner thing. I also recommend you take a look at the Regal Eagle. It's a delicious American barbecue-themed restaurant. It has delicious sauces from 4 different American barbecue regions, so definitely give that a try if you haven't. Now, the Japanese pavilion is really nice, but that gift shop, I think, in my opinion, is just too big. I know it's very popular and holds a lot of cool items in it, but I think that we could probably cut down the gift shop and make a ride instead. So if we look at the little visual I'm going to present up here in a moment, I think that we can change the big part of the gift shop, the purple area, into a main Big Hero 6 themed Japanese ride. I'm going to turn the little blue part probably into an extension of the gift shop off to the side, just a smaller version instead. Now, when I was doing research for this video, I read on Reddit that one person really liked Morocco as the best pavilion, specifically because it didn't have any theme park rides in it. It was the most adult-friendly and calm, so I figured, yeah, okay, let's leave Morocco as it is. The only thing I would do is I would probably try to work out the situation with the restaurant Marrakesh and try to get into a more permanently open situation. Coming up next on our stop of Epcot would be the United Kingdom, and now I'm trying to figure out what to do with the United Kingdom here in this little gift shop in the back, the Toy Soldier. Me and my dad were discussing what to do with this area because I went in for some creative consultants, and we know that this area was supposed to be a Mary Poppins themed ride, but that didn't end up working out. So what if we turn this instead into a form of an interactive living art exhibit, where you can have different little characters from all over, of course Disney characters from different areas of the United Kingdom, including 101 Dalmatians, Sword in the Stone, and other Disney British characters. We even came up with the idea of kind of having one of the little Dalmatians jumping in between frame to frame as everybody goes around. And rounding off our trip to Epcot, we have this giant theater that's pushed back behind London right next to Canada. Now, this section usually includes some live music, some fancy foods, especially around Christmas time, but I think that it would be more productive if we made this whole area one giant country. And I was thinking, what other country would be well represented with the Epcot section? I think that would be a Brazilian country, considering the amount of Brazilian tourists. So this is a floor plan I had for Brazil. Here we can have rides and shops, and we can move the 3 Caballeros section here to a ride or a show, even a giant sugar loaf mountain with a Christ the Redeemer statue, and even a really nice Brazilian steakhouse that you can park right next to Le Cellier. So I don't know if that would somehow make it easier for the Disney management team to have 2 steakhouses next to each other, but I still think it'd be a really fun atmosphere for the park to include. So that's what I would do with the infinite funds. Tell me below in the comments what you would do and how you enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions for any future theme park updates, let me know, and of course, we have the other 3 parks to cover.